All right, so imagine this. There's a law that says only people with a certain disability can have a specific job.
Interesting.
Kind of unusual, right?
Yeah, definitely not something you hear about every day.
Well, get this. That's what's happening in South Korea with massage therapy.
Wow, really? I didn't know that.
It's been going on for like over a century.
Seriously, it's a long time.
Today, we're diving deep into this. The article we're looking at is called, "Did You Know That in South Korea, Only Blind People Can Get a Masseur's License?"
Okay, so we're talking about a law specifically about blind people and massage therapy in South Korea.
Right. We'll look at the history, the arguments for and against it, and what it means for the people involved. It's pretty fascinating and honestly kind of controversial.
Yeah, I can see how that would be. Laws about disabilities and jobs can get pretty complex.
Exactly. So the main thing is, in South Korea, only blind people can legally be licensed as massage therapists.
And this goes all the way back to 1912.
Wow, 1912.
Yeah.
That's like older than most of our listeners, probably.
Probably, yeah. It was during the Japanese colonial rule of Korea. The idea was to give visually impaired people a secure way to make a living. Back then, opportunities were super limited for them.
Right, it makes sense in that historical context. But it's still in effect today.
It is. In 2008, South Korea's constitutional court upheld the law.
Wow. So what was their reasoning for keeping it?
Well, they argued that it still serves a vital purpose in supporting the visually impaired community.
I see. So even though times have changed, they're saying it's still relevant.
Exactly. And there's actually a whole organization dedicated to this.
Oh yeah, the article mentioned the Korean Association of Masseurs, right?
Right. They represent about 7,100 visually impaired massage therapists, and they strongly supported the court's decision.
That makes sense.
Oh.
But the article also talked about some downsides to this law, right? Like it might actually lead to more discrimination against visually impaired people in other areas.
Yeah, it's a real double-edged sword. While it protects their job market, some people argue that it also reinforces the idea that the visually impaired can only excel in limited fields.
That's a really tough situation.
Yeah.
So is everyone on board with this law?
Definitely not. There's a huge group of unlicensed masseurs, estimated to be around 200,000, who are fighting against it.
Wow, 200,000. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. They feel it's unfair that they can't practice their chosen profession, especially since there's a high demand for massage therapy in South Korea.
Makes sense. They must be pretty vocal about this, right?
Oh, absolutely. They've been trying to overturn this law for years.
And have they had any success?
They actually did in 2006. But then the South Korean parliament just redrafted the legislation and kept the blind masseurs' monopoly on licenses.
Wow, that's intense. This whole thing must be incredibly stressful for everyone involved. The article even mentioned blind masseurs taking their own lives because of the legal battles.
It's true, and it's incredibly sad. This law and the fight surrounding it has had a real human cost. The pressure and uncertainty have taken their toll.
It sounds like there's no easy solution here.
No, there really isn't. Even the Constitutional Court admitted that the current law isn't perfect. They've urged lawmakers to find a compromise that works for everyone.
So what we've learned today is that this law about massage therapy in South Korea, which seemed pretty straightforward at first, is actually incredibly complex. It's meant to protect a vulnerable group, but it might be causing other problems.
It definitely highlights the challenges of supporting marginalized communities without unintentionally limiting their opportunities.
Right. And it makes you think, how do we balance the needs of different groups when those needs seem to be in conflict?
It's a really tough question, and there's no easy answer.
This situation in South Korea really gives us a lot to think about. It's a powerful reminder that even laws with the best intentions can have unintended consequences.
It definitely makes you think about the complexity of these issues.
Exactly. And that's what makes these deep dives so interesting, right?
Absolutely. You never know what you're going to find.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap things up here. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
My pleasure. Always great to chat about these important topics.
And thanks to all our listeners for tuning in.
Until next time.
See ya.